The Civic might not be the original Type R, but it's certainly the most famous. And finally, after a 5-year hiatus, we've got the new one. But can it live up to the legacy of the first 2 generations? Who would have thought that by pumping performance into some Honda hatchbacks, you could make millions of fans all over the world? Well, luckily, I've got the brand new Honda Civic Type R here today, and its predecessor, and the original. Let's see what it's all about. This is the first Civic Type R to come to Europe. Codenamed the EP3, it was built from 2001 to 2006. It's a car with a split personality disorder. The 2-litre engine will drive like a standard hatchback, but because it's a VTEC, when it hits that sweet spot at 5,800 revs, the cam profile changes and it goes into race mode with a trademark kick. This also means it produces 197 brake horsepower, 196 Nm of torque, and has a top speed of 146 miles per hour. Those figures might not sound that impressive by today's standards, but actually that much horsepower in a little hot hatch isn't that bad, and you've got to remember that this particular car is actually 10 years old now. The gears are nice and close together too, which always keeps you in that revvy sweet spot. The great thing about this car is that it feels like a racer, it feels super sporty. The ride is really firm, and it's got nice light steering, you can really feel what you're doing. You can really push it into the corners, plus being so low down with this pretty stripped back interior, it feels really connected to the road, although push it too far and it can be a little unruly. Here we have the Mark II Civic Type R, also known as the FN2. It followed on from 2007 to 2010 with a whole new futuristic look. Importantly, it kept that 2-litre 16-valve VTEC engine with power upped by 1 whole horsepower. This meant it had less power than rivals such as the Ford Focus ST, which has switched to turbocharging. It does feel quite different from the first one, despite having basically the same engine. The steering doesn't feel quite as involved, but it does feel a lot more stable. Because of this, you could really put down the power as you exit a corner. It's a bit punchier too, because one of the changes Honda did make to the engine was increasing the torque at lower revs. All in all, this made it a more comfortable, grown-up car to drive. The latest Civic Type R carries on the futuristic look from the previous model, but it's the most extreme version yet, with an extensive list of aerodynamic mods like this massive spoiler. However, the one thing fans worry about is the fact that Type R has gone all turbo. But should they? I've got around 100 brake horsepower extra on tap, which is never a bad thing. Plus, it's got double the torque available at just 2,500 revs. To demonstrate this, we're going to do a little test. How quickly can the cars accelerate from 20 miles an hour to 60 in second gear? First up, the old cars. .8 for the EP3 and 5.7 for the FN2. Now let's see what happens when you add a turbo into the equation. Four seconds from 20 to 60. The new Type R was almost 50% quicker. Honda says this is a race car for the road, and they're not far off. Handling is pretty spot on thanks to new adaptive dampers designed especially for the Type R, making it smoother and grippier than ever before. Plus, dual-axis strut front suspension ensures it is super stable, even when you throw it into corners. It feels like a very good car, it's very fast, it feels very secure, but there's a quality that the older ones have, that they just feel more stripped back, more bare, and you feel more in touch with the road, whereas here, the car's sort of doing it for me. It's undeniable that the Mark III Civic Type R is the best yet, with figures far exceeding that of its predecessors. That doesn't mean we can't get enough of the classics, with the Mark I impressing slightly more when it comes to daily driving fun. To see our launch control video, click on the window on the left. To watch the Type R take on the BMW M3 and the Audi RS3, click on the window on the right. Click on the play button to see our latest video or on the Auto Express logo to subscribe to our channel.